Well, welcome, welcome, welcome. This is the Different Me podcast. My name is Breeze, and this is the first live stream podcast. So I'm actually excited to kind of figure out the live podcasting or live conversation on YouTube. Like, this is definitely new for me. I've done like lives before, but not actually like set up a microphone and everything. So this could be like a lot of fun. It's going to be just like a normal podcast, and actually had some people sending in some questions. So thought I would just go over some of the notes for today and then answer a couple of questions that came my way. If you're new here, welcome, and it's great to have you here. Make sure that you are subscribing and liking and sharing. And if you are a avid listener and watcher of the podcast and know all things differently, then welcome back and thank you for all your support. Some really exciting news. Well, I've actually launched it into the universe, the artist development side, that I had been working in the background on with differently. And so I am so excited to like actually be able to share that. And what's also even more exciting about it was like I've had people and artists and all of that like actually signing up to get development. And this is really cool because sometimes, you can have an idea or you can kind of see that here is somewhere where I can provide some value, right? And that's all that we're doing when we are making things and when we are, creating. A lot of that is like solving some kind of problem, right? And, when we're creating, we um can sometimes think like that's where it sort of finishes and that's where it ends, when really in our heads we have this idea of what it looks like. And so then when we actually put it out there for the world to see and the world to know, and then you get back the feedback that you think, you know it's always very encouraging. So it's really great to know that I could see these problems and see where I could be of value just through my own experience and the many, many years that I would put into being an artist. And a lot of it was like DIY. So, being an independent artist and a lot of these skills that I cultivated, right? And being able to then help other people kind of figure it out and answer the questions that they needed to see that that was something that was really needed, was a huge, huge thing. And I got like really, really excited about it. So, um, I think that we are entering into this new modern way. I think we have, but it feels like more and more people are starting to get on board about this, direct to fan marketing and really honing in on who is my audience. And there is so much like resource out there, you guys. Like there is so much resource out there. Where I see the problem with that is like sometimes you can have like so much knowledge about something and you can kind of like gain so much knowledge. You can go find out any answer to any question that you need, but then there's like the practical side, and there's the like, let's actually put it into some kind of plan. Like, let's put this into action. And that's something that is also what I believe is another skill in itself, to be able to really know who you are talking to. What do they particularly engage in? How do you nurture that? And then how do you grow that? I feel like as artists, we like to kind of jump a few steps. We go straight from creation to now I just want to like be the biggest thing and have the biggest network and or have the biggest fan base, and everything is always like numbers driven and there are these like vanity metrics, right? Not realizing that that does take hard work. The joy in your artistry is the creation. The discipline is how do I nurture that? And sometimes we can forget that the people that we are engaging in, right? Our audience, that we sometimes can forget that they're people, and we can forget that they are actually more important than what we are trying to get them to do, right? Whether it's go stream a song or go pre-save or come to my show or buy my merch or jump on my live, right? there is so many other aspects to a person, right? And I think patience and is really a huge thing that probably gets neglected, as well as connection. And so connection is really important. And a lot of that has to do with being able to connect with yourself and being able to know, as you are, a lot of us are just on social media, right? So I can use that as an example. When we are on social media and we are posting and we are making sure that we're actually also interacting and actually being like social with these people, because that's what's really going to prove true in the long run, is how social are you, and how much are you putting into connecting with the people before you're even asking them to do anything, you know um I think it's a really important thing, because we're just in this very new way, and more you can see the gap that it is so possible for you to build a platform, and it doesn't have to be at these mass scales, to be able to feel very fulfilled in your artistry, feel very fulfilled in your career, and you know be able to monetize from that, and get some bills paid, right? We that You can really retain a lot of ownership with what you're doing. So um I'm just really excited that stepping into this artist development side, and now being able to work with artists one on one, and helping them understand, what is your branding? Like, the easiest way I can probably explain it is that I'm producing your brand, right? So you have a producer that produces your song. Like, there is usually a concept. You want to match the sonics with the emotions. Like, there's a lot that goes into crafting a song. I kind of do that, but with your brand. So that's like the easiest way that I could probably explain what artist development is. And, I have so much fun doing that. So I'd love to jump into a question that I was sent. And it's a really, really great question, because it even, made me think. So this is from a band called Photo Youth, and I love these guys. You got to check them out. Um, so they're asking, what's the correlation to image and sound? The Cure is a band with a lot of upbeat, poppy songs, but their imagery is very dark. Imagery is important, but how important is it to match your sound? Um, what I really love about this is you do see that a lot in branding, right? Particularly in songs. A lot of the most heartfelt songs, or the songs that have these, they could be about heartbreak, or about, these heavy things and these heavy emotions. They typically work the best when the music is kind of doing the opposite to that. And I don't know why, but there's something about, if you were kind of trying to get a point across, showing the opposite almost makes the point shine through just that little bit more. And so I think when it comes to imagery, is a huge part of your branding, and it's also not the only part of your branding, right? So when it comes to, say, like The Cure, right? They have a lot of upbeat poppy songs, but the imagery is dark. I think what's really interesting about that is, like, their band name is called The Cure. So it almost does make sense for them to kind of show these opposites, right? Because they're almost proving or showing this point of, like, we are the cure to this, dark images that you see. Like, our music can be healing in some kind of way. So when it's coming to, like, your imagery, it's really kind of tapping in further to, like, what are you actually about? Like, what are you trying to say? And that can come in different categories. It could go from song to an EP, to what am I actually trying to say as a band or as an artist? And what you will find is that there are usually very similar themes in a lot of the things that you do. So what I think imagery is really important. But just to like kind of round off your question, how important is it to match your sound? I think it's still very important, and you can kind of look at it first glance of being like, okay, they have happy songs, but the imagery is dark. That doesn't really match, but it could be so much more going on behind the scenes that could also be the angle that they were going for. Like, we want to be known as the band that has very upbeat songs, but our imagery is dark, you know? So it really depends on like when it's coming to presenting yourself, like what is the actual intention of what you're doing? But that I thought that was a really great question, because just when I was like looking at it, I was like, okay, but their band is called The Cure. So that's like kind of clever. I don't know if that's the reason, but I thought that that was very, very clever. Um, there is another question, um, which I kind of actually went over, is like, how do you connect with your audience? So being in an artist for, geez, a long time, that was always something that um, I knew was important, right? And it wasn't until I kind of made it something that like I now focus on more like outside of artistry, where I'm like, no, it's actually the most important thing. Just knowing that it is important, I think, is the first step. And why it's important is because when you are connecting with, first and foremost, like I was saying before, like you have to know that you are talking to people, right? Treating your artist career like you are talking to a friend, or you're trying to make a friend, you can see like there's a lot of value in that. And it's probably the best way to make sure that you really are doing it for the right reasons, because people more than ever, we are so flooded with so much content and so much information, right? That it is kind of at nauseum. So we're able to really see if someone is worth our time or not. And I think too, it's doing two things. One, why we want people that are more like authentic and more like trying to connect and more being themselves is because that's something that we're deep down searching for. Also, we are getting flooded with so much content. We almost have this like, if you're going to be taking up my time, like you kind of want to make it worth my time, right? So, and at the same time, like people that are just chasing vanity, typically like you don't really care for them as much. So connecting with your audience really starts from like trying to build some kind of rapport, like some kind of relationship. And what's really interesting is like artists, we're really good at it, but we don't think we are, because we keep saying like, we're introverted, or I can't really make friends, or I am socially awkward, or whatever it is. But when you have someone in front of you that's like engaging in something that you are doing, what I would do and what I would find was really helpful is I would just get them to talk about themselves, right? So this is really great for like, after a show, but you can do it on social media too. Like if you are, talking in your comments and engaging in your comments, if someone's like, I love this song, like you'd be like, oh, that's great. Like what, what about it do you love so much? Like it's just like opening it up to care more about them than what they're doing for you. And I would find that that was a great way to build some kind of rapport with people, that they would be like, oh, you're actually like kind of cool and down to earth and easy to talk to. And you kind of actually like care about what I have to say. So that was a really great way. And it's all genuine too. Like you also genuinely want to know what people like think. So make sure it's genuine. But why it's really great is that people actually then can start to relate to you in a way, because I think as artists, we don't realize that people look at what you're doing as something that is like so far out there that they can never do and achieve, and they kind of put you on this pedestal no matter like how big your platform is. And so kind of bringing it back down to earth and back down to reality, being like, yo, I'm just like a person just like you. I just am creative and I put out music. Like that's really the only difference. Kind of really brings down those walls, and you don't think it, but it's kind of one of the main reasons why people um possibly don't interact with you, or they could just have no idea. So it's just like the more forward you are and the more open you are and the more you are wanting to actually get to know people, you will find that you are getting the results that you are truly wanting, which is connection. And having people truly appreciate what you're doing because you appreciate them, and it's this really like happy understanding that you have. So that's what I feel like is just like super, super, super important. And I hope like this brought value to you. I really actually enjoy doing the lives, so I'm definitely going to do them again. So if you haven't yet, just make sure that you are subscribing and you are liking. You're also sharing this content. If you're wanting to know more about branding and career strategy, and how do you set up systems to monetize, how do you even run your artistry like a business, hit me up. I have all the links in the description. If you're wanting artist development, which is so, so, so important to have in this time, sign up with me. I would love to work with you. I love doing this stuff, so I want to help you. So yeah, get in touch, follow all the social medias, share this with another artist friend of yours, even creatives. We don't just work with artists, we also work with creatives. So till next time, thank you for watching.